Now this charter oak tree was where they hid the thing, the charter. And the charter was the thing that gave them permission to function in the name of the sovereign, who was the one dealing with law. Right? So now, who is law? Who can practice law? You have to be in your proper person. If you're not in your proper person, you cannot practice law. You see? Now, what you have, a lot of things, is not really law. You have things that are statutes. You see? You have things called statutes. They're not really law. Now, when you go into a so-called court, most people have a thing called a prosecutor. Right? The prosecutor. So even if you don't have a lawyer and you go in front of a prosecutor, they say you come pro se. Right? That's the status. They declare you, because there are different stages with even in law. But even to understand that, you got to understand what law and who can practice law. What is law? First of all, you have to know. 2 is who can use law. 3, what are the issues of law? 4, what is color of law? And 5, why colorable law, and also what's going on with courts, and why, and understand what court and courthouse is. You see, because we find that a lot of black people, a lot of poor people find themselves every day in the courthouses and are being taken advantage of by the thousands because of their ignorance and their fear and not understanding law. You can quote Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. You can quote everything out of the Bible, but you can't quote no laws. So my brothers and my sisters, we find that it's most important at this time that you understand law. You see? Because when you go to court, you can't quote Matthew, Luke, and John in front of no judge. You see? You can't quote Saint Nobody in front of no judge, because they're going to charge you with some so-called law. Right? Now, what is law? Now, you find that, for example, Connecticut, they have a thing called the Connecticut Constitution, and then they have the general statutes of the state of Connecticut. You see? Most times when you are accused of a crime or guilty, or not guilty, but accused of anything, is usually one of these statutes. You see, one of these statutes. Now, statutes, bottom line, is not law. Even though people may refer to it as law and act like it's law and portray it and project it like it's law, it's not law. You see? Because the statute is a thing called corporate policy. Corporate policy. The corporate policy of a corporation that calls itself the state of whatever, or the commonwealth of whatever. That's the name of the corporation. It's a corporation. You see? Same thing when you look at City of Hartford. City of Hartford or City of whatever, that's the name of a corporation. You see? A not-for-profit, for-profit, or whatever you want to call it, it's a corporation. Right. Now, you have another thing called corporate ward status. You know about corporate ward status? Because when you're talking about, you go into some court, you go into the court, first thing you got to know is 3 things. Your status, the jurisdiction, and also before that you can go to any adjudication. Now those 3 words, like I said, those words there's now status, jurisdiction, and adjudication. Those things are all involved when you're talking about the issues of law. The issues of law. What is the issue surrounding law? You see? Now, for example, when you're talking about law, if you say you're a citizen, if that's your status, if you declare your status to be citizen, then My brothers and sisters, that's different from sovereign or sovereignty. You see? A sovereign is not, his status is not citizen. Now, if you are citizen or resident of, citizen of or resident of or whatever, then that makes your status to be a corporate ward. You are under the corporation's laws. You see? You are now under the jurisdiction of the corporation, and whatever natural, organic, sovereign right that you possess, you have given it up. You see? You have given it up. You have relinquished all of your right and have put yourself in the jurisdiction of the corporation. You see? Now, when you say corporation, a lot of people can't really grasp it. It's a corporation. Well, it's a corporation. For example, the address that you live at is not a real address. It's a fictitious address. Why is it a fictitious address? Because a person or a company or corporation called City of Hartford or City of whatever drew a map and created that street and gave that street a name. You see? And also designated the lot where your house is on. You see? And also put the number on that house. That was done by a company called City of Hartford. That's why when you cross the city line, you're in another town, because you pass the city line. And you pass the city line and it'll say, next town established 18 whatever or 16 whatever. Or incorporated 16 whatever or 18 or 17 whatever. That was when the corporation was established. You see? Now, when you're talking about the property called City of Hartford, all of the property that is inside the thing called City of Hartford or the city of whatever belongs to the company, belongs to the corporation. You see? And the corporation doesn't have any money. How does the corporation get the money? By taxing the people. You see? And it's not, the taxes that you pay are not voluntary. You don't pay them voluntarily. And according to their constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, it said there's no, you can't be taxation without representation and those type of things. You see? You're not represented. You see? So now they force taxes out of you or coerce taxes out of you by threatening you with all type of punishment if you do not give them. You see? And why is that? Because you came and live on the corporation property. You come to the corporation property, which have a thing called eminent domain. You see? Eminent domain. Now, why would you say eminent domain? Because if you look into the city charter, the City of Hartford has a charter. And it tells you that the name of this corporation will be called